Marco Rubio was humiliated by Kristen Welker on NBC News when she played a video for him of himself just a few years ago saying, you can't cut deals with guys like Putin, just as his boss is now trying to cut a deal with Putin, failing, and Marco Rubio is left to go and clean it up and answer questions like, what did we get from Putin? Here's Kristen Welker saying, you said this is not the type of person we can even do a deal with.
Terry, I want to play something you said about President Putin. This was right after the invasion in March of 2022. Take a look.
This guy lies, habitually lies. He's never kept a deal he's ever signed, and he lies all the time. And I don't know why, but he plays us like a violin in the West, because the West wants to believe that you can cut a deal with everybody. You can't cut a deal with guys like this. He's a professional, experienced liar.
Mr. Secretary, given that, what makes you think that if you are able to reach a deal with President Putin, that he would stick to it, based on, as you just said, he's a liar?
Well, that's the point. That's why the deal has to have enforceable mechanisms in it. That's why the deal has to have things like security guarantees. That's the point I was making a few minutes ago when you were asking me about looking someone in the eye. What's important here is actions, not words.
Notice he's not addressing the hypocrisy of what he previously said when it was Biden that was president.
It's not paper, document. Those are all important. Those are elements of a deal, but they have to be enforceable. They have to be verifiable. They have to be enduring. There's no point here in signing a deal that's going to be violated in 3 or 4 months. There's no point in doing that. It actually would make things worse. So that's why this is such a difficult thing. Not only do you need a deal that's verifiable, that's enforceable, and that's enduring. If you don't achieve that, then I think you could have a ceasefire for a few months, a few weeks, and then the war will start again and more people will die.
But of course, the question was, how do you square that you said you can't do deals with a guy like Putin with now saying Trump's going to do a deal and we asked for a lot of things and you just need mechanisms of enforcement? Well, where was that analysis when it was Joe Biden who was president? And of course, it didn't exist because this is all just partisan nonsense, the sort of stuff that you're sick of and I'm sick of, and is part of why voters don't trust or like our elected officials, because they just spin. Very nicely, it is always interesting to see people's own words played back at them. Welker didn't even need an argument. It's like, just press play. Here's what you said. Why are you now saying something completely different? Rubio's boxed in. He can't possibly defend the summit and what he said in 2022. So he just goes, oh, we need enforcement mechanisms and verifiability. But the bigger picture, of course, and you know this, is that Trumpists keep getting caught contradicting themselves. The past statements expose the hypocrisy. They knew Putin couldn't be trusted. They knew it in 2022. They know it now. The difference is Trump's determined to be the deal maker that he sees himself, really a legend in his own mind. They're bending over backward to justify why this summit even happened. They're now bending over backwards to even say there were concessions. Well, what were they? Well, we asked for stuff. Well, what did you ask for? I'm not going to tell you. So I hope we see more of this from legacy and corporate media. The best fact check against Trump world really isn't pundits or esoteric arguments or whatever. The best argument against these people is their own past selves captured on video and seen in the way that we are seeing it here. Now, today, Trump's meeting with Zelensky. What do we expect? First and foremost, it is a very different environment. Trump traveling to Alaska to meet Putin, Zelensky coming to the Oval Office. Red carpet for Putin laid out by soldiers on their hands and knees in Alaska. No red carpet at the White House for Vladimir Zelensky. Trump, in the last 5 hours before we tape today's show, has been shifting closer and closer to Putin's demands, to Putin saying, I think we want to keep all of Crimea. Trump's like, I think Putin's going to keep all of Crimea. So questions about is Trump being blackmailed are rising. I am not going to put the cart before the horse. Let's see what comes out of the Zelensky meeting. Let's check Trump's attitude after the Zelensky meeting compared to how he behaved and sort of his tone after the Putin meeting. But most importantly, does anyone concede anything at this point? And do we take even half a baby step towards ending this war? On the bonus show today, controversy over what Zelensky wore today to meet with Trump. This is what they care about. It's unbelievable. We will talk about an AI-driven jobless recovery that is being discussed increasingly by economists, which I think is super interesting. And then also what is important to keep in mind as Republican governors are increasingly planning to send National Guard units to Washington, D.C. By the way, they're sending them overwhelmingly to the parts of D.C. that don't even have a crime problem. It's all staged. It's all theatrics, but it's the way Trump operates. All of those stories and more will be on today's bonus show.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money, but everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
Sure. Sign up at joinpakman.com. I'll see you on the bonus show. I'll see you back here tomorrow.